Hi, welcome to our project called Why Educational Inequality Matters. This is by Sanaya Anderson and Maddie Hayes. Educational inequality disproportionately harms millions of low-income K-5 students in the U.S. The effects are severe and wide-ranging, manifesting in cognitive and academic deficits, emotional distress from chronic stress and instability, and long-term socioeconomic disadvantages. I want you to imagine a second grader named Jordan, who wakes up every morning in a crowded, noisy apartment. He hasn't eaten breakfast because his family is waiting for their next SNAP deposit. At school, his stomach growls through a math lesson. His teacher notices he has trouble focusing, but with 30 other kids in the room, she can't give him extra support. By third grade, Jordan is already falling behind in reading, a critical predictor of future academic success. Jordan's story is not unique. As I said, millions of children across the U.S. experience educational inequality in ways that shape their cognitive development, emotional well-being, and long-term opportunities. So who is impacted? Well, when discussing low-income students, researchers often rely on eligibility for the federal free and reduced price lunch program as a proxy for poverty status. To qualify for free lunch, a family's income must be at or below 130% of the federal poverty line, $39,000 for a family of 4 in 2023. To qualify for reduced price lunch, the threshold is 185% of the federal poverty line, $55,500 for a family of 4. However, this measure has limitations, as many families living just above these cutoffs still struggle with financial instability. More broadly, the official poverty measure, OPM, estimates that 11 million children, 14.4% in the U.S., live below the poverty line in 2022. The supplemental poverty measure, SPM, which accounts for cost of living and government aid, places child poverty at 12.4%. Using a relative poverty measure, which considers children in households earning less than 50% of the national median income, the numbers rise even higher. It was found that 51% of public school students in the U.S. are considered low income. So this is a problem. Millions of kids are affected by educational inequality. Many low-income children face adverse childhood experiences, also known as ACEs, such as neglect, exposure to violence, or housing insecurity. The CDC's National ACE study found that children who experience 4 or more ACEs are 32 times more likely to have learning and behavioral problems in school compared to peers with no ACEs. ACEs not only affect educational performance, but also increase the likelihood of chronic health conditions, substance abuse, and involvement in the juvenile justice system. Schools in low-income areas often lack counselors and mental health professionals who could help mitigate these effects. ACEs prevent kids from being kids. Yeah, there's so much worse capabilities that they affect as well, like kids' capabilities to do well in school, and to feel smart, and to graduate high school, so then later on that they can get a job and have the ability to provide for themselves or their families. But also ACEs prevent kids from being kids. They prevent kids from being able to play, which is an important part of being a kid that these low-income children deserve to have. But they're faced with this harm of ACEs. Additionally, research on childhood poverty and brain development reveals significant differences in cognitive function. A study by Noble using MRI scans found that children from families earning less than $25,000 per year had 6% less cortical surface area in brain regions related to executive function, problem solving, and language. These differences in brain structure contribute to challenges in decision-making, impulse control, and memory retention. Consequently, low-income children often require additional educational support, yet many underfunded schools lack the necessary resources to provide individualized attention. Also, poverty-related stress often causes toxic stress. which impacts the brain's ability to relate emotions and focus in school. The American Academy of Pediatrics reports that children in poverty are 2 to 3 times more likely to have high levels of cortisol, a hormone linked to anxiety, difficulty concentrating, and memory issues. Chronic stress can manifest as behavioral issues, difficulty following instructions, and emotional outbursts in the classroom. Without proper support systems, these students may develop long-term mental health struggles, further impacting their ability to succeed academically, which can further impact their future success. And this matters.
Educational inequality begins early, and its effects are particularly severe in K-5 education, setting the stage for lifelong disparities. The achievement gap between low-income and higher-income students is apparent on the first day of kindergarten. The National Center for Education Statistics has been the federal agency responsible for analyzing and reporting on the condition of education in the U.S. The data in the annual report was collected from a variety of sources, including but not limited to state reports, direct student assessments, educational agency and administrative records, sample and universe surveys, some of which are conducted in conjunction with the U.S. Census Bureau. According to the 2024 report on education from the NCES, low-income students are an average of 12 to 14 months behind in literacy and numeracy skills as soon as they enter kindergarten. This is an extremely prevalent inequality for various reasons. For one, the NCES states that of 3 to 4-year-olds enrolled in school, 39% are below the poverty line, and 38% are between 100 and 185% of the poverty threshold. Furthermore, of 5-year-olds enrolled in school, 79% are below the poverty line, and 82% are between 100 to 185% of the poverty line. So, these demographics of children, which make up significant portions of their student cohorts, are at an unearned disadvantage as soon as they enter school. This early gap affects K-5 readiness, as research shows only 48% of low-income students exhibit kindergarten readiness compared to 75% of moderate to high-income students, leading to lower test scores and sustained inequality as they continue their education. A potential example of sustained inequality can be shown in literacy rates. Third-grade reading proficiency is a key predictor of future success, which many low-income students struggle with. The Annie E. Casey Foundation is a philanthropy group based in Baltimore, Maryland, that conducted a study on 3,975 students, surveying their parents every 2 years to determine the family's financial status and track the children's reading progress through the Peabody Individual Achievement Test. Students who are not proficient in reading by the 3rd grade are 4 times more likely to drop out of high school, which greatly impacts their ability to attain higher education and achieve social mobility, according to research from the Annie E. Casey Foundation. The graph on the left shows disparities in reading proficiency among 3rd graders depending on income status and the dropout rates of each group. Not only are children who have experienced poverty less proficient in reading, but they also have higher dropout rates than their peers, regardless of their reading proficiency. The harms of educational inequality manifest as capabilities deficits as well, such as lack of control over one's environment, as Nussbaum, which can further lead to capabilities deficits in areas such as well-being. The quality of early education determines later academic opportunities. If a student does not receive strong foundational skills in elementary school, they are more likely to be placed in lower academic tracks in middle and high school, reducing their chances of taking advanced courses or pursuing college, which in turn affects employment and income, as shown in the graph on the right. By age 10, economic disparities in education are deeply entrenched. Studies show that children from lower income families are less likely to catch up academically after 3rd grade, meaning that gaps established in elementary school often last into adulthood. Low-income students are less likely to complete high school and college for a variety of reasons, at no fault of their own. K-5 education plays a critical role in shaping a child's future, which is why inequalities in early education are harms within themselves.